Hello and welcome to Voice of Rio Grande. I'm Dr. Donna Mitchell, Dean of the College of Professional and Technical Studies, along with my co-host, Dr. Heather Duda, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. It's a beautiful day on campus today, Heather.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I hope that everyone's taken some time to go out and walk around, enjoy the beautiful fall weather, the colors. It's a beautiful time to be here.
Trees are beginning to change a little bit. The campus is beautiful. The semester's in full swing. Our athletics are in full swing as well. Some of our athletes are doing some amazing things.
Yep.
And it's exciting to be here. The students are in full swing in classes, and the faculty members are almost, but I guess at that mid-semester point where they're a little overwhelmed, but it's a great time to be at Rio Grande.
Absolutely.
And we're very, very fortunate today to have our guest, Abby Conder, the coordinator of International Programs and Services at the University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Ni hao. Ni hao means hello in Chinese. I'm honored to be here today, so thank you very much for your invitation.
Abby, let's start out a little bit with your background and how you came to Rio Grande, please.
Sure. I received my bachelor's in humanities from Muskingum University in 2011. During that time, I studied abroad for a year and a half of my time there. And the 3 semesters that I was abroad, I spent in China, in Lanzhou, China, which is in the western part of the country. And I learned Chinese there. So that's what really sparked my interest in Chinese and Chinese culture. After I graduated from Muskingum, I went on to get my master's from Concordia University in Irvine. And my master's is in international studies with a concentration on Chinese education. So I guess those things combined just really led me to Rio to become the International Services Coordinator.
And we have some exciting opportunities with China now. Could you tell us a little bit about what's happening with our China connection?
Absolutely. We have some really great things going on at Rio with our Chinese partners. We are starting a full-blown exchange program now. So that means that we will not only be receiving Chinese students to study at Rio Grande, but we will be sending some of our Rio students to be ambassadors for us in China, in the city of Xi'an, which is also in western China. So.
What are you hoping? Like the students thinking about going to China, what sort of advice do you have to help them make the decision and to encourage them to apply for the program?
I think the students have to be open-minded individuals because the cultures are definitely different. It's harder to find similarities anymore than it is differences. But so open-mindedness, it would be a great quality for them to have, but an adventurous spirit and a willingness to learn and learn from others and learn a different culture and a different language. Those are really some of the things that they would need to have.
That's great. And what does a typical semester look like for one of our Rio students if they go abroad and study in China? What would they expect while they're there? Obviously, they're taking courses.
Yes, correct. We have a couple different partners that we're working with, and each of those partners offers a little bit of a different curriculum. But to summarize them, they basically have 2 tracks, a language and linguistics track where the student could go over for 4 months and spend the semester learning Chinese. And they would come back relatively fluent because they're immersed in the culture and they're talking to people, inside and outside of the classroom, which further reinforces the language skills. But so that's one area that they could study. The other area is more of like a history and culture track, so they could go over there. And one school that we're working with has designed a course that is field trip based. So they would take this course and they would be led by an instructor to different museums, exhibits, the Terracotta Warrior Museum, which is very famous, and that would be the class, just learning by experience, really. So there's a lot of interesting things. A lot of the universities have offered to design courses based off the students' interests too. A lot of art classes and music classes can be arranged, so lots of neat things happening.
And where will the students be housed when they're in China?
They'll most likely be housed in a dormitory. Some of the universities have a specific dormitory that's for foreign experts or foreign students, but otherwise they would be in a Chinese dormitory or on a specific floor of a Chinese dormitory with other international students.
I know travel abroad can be expensive. When our students do travel, where would they be paying tuition? Could they use their financial aid to help with the travel expenses? How would that work for students who might be interested but concerned about it financially?
Yes, that is my number one concern. When students come to me and say, I'd really like to study abroad, but I just think it's, not financially possible for my family and that's definitely not true. What happens is the student wanting to go to China would pay the tuition directly to Rio. That way that their financial aid package and all of their grants, loans, and scholarships would stay intact for their return. So it would be like taking a leave of absence almost. And so they would pay their tuition here, and then they would pay room and board to the institution where they're going. And they would also be responsible for their flights and visas and passports. However, there are scholarships for those things.
Great.
That students could apply for, and I'm more than happy to assist with that process as well.
Great.
That sounds exciting. I want to hear more about China, but I also want to hear a little bit about Wales and what some of the projects are that we have in conjunction with our trips to Wales.
Absolutely. We have a great Welsh program here, and of course our community is Welsh founded. The Welsh came over and founded this area in 1818, so there's a lot of roots here, really important roots and ties, which helps strengthen our exchange program with the university in Wales. But we have a very great program with the University of Wales, Trinity St. David, which is in southwestern Wales. And we have sent over 60 students in the last 10 or so years, which is really great. We actually have 4 students right now, studying for a full semester. Financially, Wales works the same way. The students pay their tuition directly to Rio so that their aid package stays intact, and they're responsible for airfare and things like that. The Welsh University that we partner with also has a really great cultural trip where they take the students on field trips and adventures and things like that too. I think 2 of our students are in Paris right now as we speak. So they're kind of gallivanting all over Europe. It's just every college student's dream, I think. But and it's possible for all Rio students. There's no limitations. We would love to have anybody come and talk about study abroad.
My daughter was able to take advantage of that trip to Wales.
Really?
She went to England, Ireland, Wales, and France. I
Oh,
believe.
that's wonderful.
And the experience she had there was just amazing. She was in her senior year of college. She still talks about it today.
Oh, that's great. I love to hear some study abroad success stories.
Yeah. She and another student went together.
Okay.
And they really had an incredible experience.
Okay, wonderful. That's great.
How do you, when you have students who say, there's so much to explore here, why would I want to spend a semester abroad? What do you tell them about the benefits of international travel and how important that is in a person's life experience?
Right, there are so many things. For me personally, it really helped to put things in perspective because you're right. The United States and North America is huge. There is a lot to explore, but seeing things from a different culture's point of view is just as important as it is to see things from your point of view within your own culture. So learning that and learning to respect other people's perspectives is a really big part of study abroad, and it helps you open your mind and heart to other beliefs and philosophies and styles of living. So it's just really wonderful.
Now, you've talked a lot about our students going to China or students going to Wales. Do we have students who come here from those schools as well?
Yes, we recently had three young ladies from Wales do a short-term cycle program here at Rio just a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact. And they had a great time. They are education majors at the University of Wales, Trinity St. David, our partner school. And they came over for about 3 weeks and they sat in on some education classes. They were able to go to a couple local schools, see the community, learn a little bit about our history here and how it connects to their history over there. So they just had a really great time and it was wonderful to host them. And we're also expecting an instructor from Wales coming this week on the Imagine Arts grant through our Fine Arts Department. That's very, very exciting. We're so eager to have him and host him here on our campus and in our community. So lots of internationalizing going on. other than Wales and China, we also have over 20 countries represented on our campus right now. Many of them are student athletes, but we do have some that aren't student athletes. So that's really wonderful too, to have them intermingle with our domestic students and vice versa. And we've learned a lot from each other, and they've learned a lot from us. It's a really great experience.
And you actually started an international club, correct? International organization this semester. Would you tell us a little bit about that? Who can join and what you've been doing?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. Yes, we did recently start Rio International, is what we call it, which is an international club, and anybody can join. We would love to have you. We are one of the biggest clubs on campus right now, which is very exciting. We do a lot of really fun events. We recently had a Chinese themed event where we kind of celebrated the Mid-Autumn Festival, which is a big holiday in China based around the moon and the lunar calendar and all those fun things. But we had calligraphy painting, and we had a silly noodle eating competition, which I believe you took part in.
I did take I was not eating, but I did have to use chopsticks and feed someone else. It was a lot of fun. There was some very serious competition
Yes.
in that activity, and I'm surprised it wasn't messier than it ended up being.
Got a little rough. But the students really loved it.
They
I got a lot of
did.
good feedback from it. We've also had some different events on campus. We've had 2 or 3 already. And our next event is November 2nd. And I would like to invite you to come to that. And anybody is welcome. We'd love to have you. It's going to be in the Red Zone in the movie theater, November 2nd, 7:30 p.m. We're going to show a movie for the Mexican holiday, the Day of the Dead, which is on November 2nd. So we're going to show a movie down there and have popcorn and just learn from each other, talk to each other, and kind of celebrate that a little bit.
That's great. You know, I think sometimes our students forget because they think, oh, well, we're sort of in the country, we're in Southern Ohio, we don't get a lot of diversity. And it's so wonderful to know that Rio has a huge amount of diversity, that there are so many countries represented on this campus. And the students that come from abroad love to hear about our culture, and they love to talk about their culture. And I think it can just really get students excited about different places and different cultures, and learn some different languages. I've had students in my classes who have learned other languages from people in their dorms that have come. So it's wonderful that the International Club now exists as an opportunity for more interaction of that kind.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's one of a kind, really. We have a large pool of countries represented in the club. We have a lot of American students who have joined, a lot of people that speak different languages. Excuse me. It's just it's a really great place. It's a sense of community for them, really. Since they're so far away from home, they can gather with their friends and then their peers, and it's like a new family.
Speaking of sort of this community and family that emerges, are there other ways that we here on campus can help our international students get more acclimated to the campus, to the area, things that we can do to encourage that sort of family and community spirit?
Absolutely. I would suggest and encourage students, our American students in the dorms, that when you have an international student living with you or on your floor in your dormitory, and you know that they may not know about all of the events going on campus, go knock on their door and take them with you to an event, or have them pledge with you for the sorority or the fraternity, or have them join psychology club. Whatever it is that you're doing, invite them to be a part of that. And just an open invitation, open arms is so meaningful to people. And Rio is an extremely friendly place, and people here are so respectful and kind to each other. So I can't really think of anything other than that to say that would encourage people to do that, because they've done such a good job with that already.
That's wonderful to hear.
It is. You talked about our students from China, our students from Wales, but you said there are 20 other countries represented?
Yes.
And you probably can't remember all the 20 off the top
Oh,
of your head.
boy.
Could you just give us an example of some of the other countries?
We have a lot from South America and Central America. Just to name a few: Brazil, Chile, Venezuela, Ecuador, Costa Rica. I'm trying to go north now. Dominican Republic, Jamaica, we have a Jamaican student this semester. Canadian students. Now I'm going to hop over the water, go to Europe. Finland. Croatia, Serbia, and that's a new one for this semester. We have a Serbian student. Spain, France, of course the UK. We have many students from the UK. The Netherlands, yes, we have a student from the Netherlands. Burma. Oh,
That's quite a variety.
I'm trying to think of the
That's
rest
really
of them.
impressive for a school the size of Rio
Absolutely.
Grande to
Right.
have students from that
Yes.
many different countries.
Yes.
And of course, we're going to hopefully be seeing some Chinese students in the spring semester, which will be very exciting.
Definitely.
How many students are we anticipating in the spring? Do we know?
We don't have any solid numbers yet. Actually, in about 2 weeks, I'll know a little bit more because I'm going over to China on Friday for a recruitment trip to help the schools with their student recruitment and talk to them about what they're going to experience at Rio Grande. So hopefully I'll know a little bit more number-wise, and of course they'll start applying during that time too. So we'll have a good estimate. But we're hoping for a handful.
Well, remember, Heather and I are willing to go with you if you need any help on
Anytime.
that trip. I mean,
Anytime.
we can do a variety of things. You know, deans do a lot of different things. So.
I will remember that for next time. I will definitely remember that. And you're more than welcome. They're very hospitable over there. They're very welcoming people. They're so kind. So they would love to have you.
What's a typical recruitment trip? I mean, I know how we maybe do recruitment here in the States, but what is it like when you go over there? What sort of things do you do? Do you take? How are you mindful of the culture into which you're entering a partnership?
Well, Chinese culture, like I mentioned earlier, is a lot different than ours, and they have a lot more business philosophies than we do, different business philosophies. So a lot of the time we're going to be doing business type meetings, sitting in conference rooms, talking with university presidents, vice presidents, deans, and other administrators, people, maybe the international folks over there. So a lot of it's going to be business meetings. The Chinese, they love to eat food while they do business too, so they have invited us to quite a few dinners as well, which is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. But some of the schools that we're going to be visiting have asked us to present lectures or present information about Rio Grande and what to expect when their students come here, differences in the American educational system and things like that. So we've been busy trying to prepare those kinds of things.
So will you do all of your presentations in Chinese?
No, I definitely won't. My Chinese is nowhere near that good. I'll be presenting in English, and for the meetings they'll have an interpreter there for us. But the students coming over here will know English already, so that won't be a problem with the translation.
Wonderful.
What sort of elements of Rio's campus and Rio's community draw students from abroad, Wales, China, or really anywhere else?
Well, China specifically, that's kind of my field of expertise. But Rio has so much to offer China. We're such a small community. We have a great library. The library is always the focal point of any Chinese university. They really pride themselves over what their library looks like, how many students can fit in the library. In fact, I was just doing research yesterday, and one of the schools we're going to visit has like a 7-story library and 2,900 and some seats for the students to go in and study. So they're very prideful of their library. So we're going to be taking a couple of things that represent Rio with us, pictures, PowerPoint presentations about Rio, videos, some gifts also. So it should be pretty interesting.
Sounds like a fun time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Rio's a perfect place for Chinese students. It's quiet. There's no distractions really from their academic study, which is extremely important for them. We have great social life here on campus, which is also very important. So the students won't just be in the classroom or the library the entire time. They'll be out and about with friends, and they'll be joining clubs and having lots of fun here. So. But we're a safe community also, and that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on, and one of the things that parents of international students are concerned with a lot is the safety of the school, because they think about the U.S. being very urban But since we're very rural, it's a big appeal to them. We're such a safe community. We have great officers and a fire department. They're just wonderful.
What kind of legal documents will the students need to go overseas, to go to China, to Wales?
For a Rio student, what they'll do, they have to have a passport, a valid passport, and they will apply for a student visa. And they can do that very simply with an online application and mailing it to DC or New York to the embassy there, the Chinese embassies. After they get their visa, they'll go to China and apply for a residence permit, which will allow them to actually live in the country for X amount of months, however long they choose to stay there. So it's a relatively simple process.
How long does it take? If I wanted to go, would I need to start my documentation 4 months in advance, a year in advance?
No, not that long. Maybe 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks would be a good, comfortable time to start with the visa processing. I would suggest that any student get a passport much before that, because the passports take a lot longer to process than the visas do. So I would encourage the students to go ahead and get their passports now, because they're good for 10 years. So,
Right.
you know, and I think it's $100 for a passport now, and you can get them at the post office.
It sounds like there's a lot of paperwork involved if a Rio student wants to study abroad. If they're struggling with where to start or where to find the information, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you will probably help them, in which case, when are you available and where are you for students to find?
Well, other than the next 2 weeks when I'm going to be out of the country, I am available in my office, which is in the Davis House, across the road from the Berry Fine Arts Center, on the 2nd floor. So students can always find me there. My email address is international@rio.edu. So students can email me, call me. I have cards I can give them with my cell phone number on it. So students can always find me. And I encourage them to come and visit. We also have a really great student lounge in the Davis House now on the 2nd floor. We've got a TV and a yoga mat even in there, so you can come and do yoga. It's a really great place to study.
It's nice and quiet, too.
Oh, it's very quiet.
So that makes a good place to do yoga or to study.
Yes, absolutely.
Or maybe do yoga and study.
Yes.
One more maybe quick question. On the other side, if a school is looking to partner with us, what do we look for in a partnership?
That's a great question. For what we look for in a partner abroad is someone that trusts us as much as we trust them. Trust is a big part of it. We want a safe environment for our students, and we want to make sure that we know where they're going and where they're staying and what they're doing. So safety is our biggest concern too, because we don't have representatives abroad from Rio to help the students if needed. So we want to make sure that they have a resource system in place over there. So that's really what one of the first things we look for in an international partner is to make sure that they have a system set up to help our students succeed. So emotionally and academically, every way.
Well, I will say that although the college I went to as an undergrad did have an international study abroad program, unfortunately I was never able to take advantage of that. And that is something that I really wish that I would have had the ability to. So I, for one, always encourage my students, if they have international travel interests, to really think about it. It might seem daunting because it is average 16 weeks away, or maybe a little less than that, but I think it can be so rewarding. All the students I know that took advantage of the study abroad program have come back and absolutely loved it. They just talk about it and talk about how meaningful it was.
Are the trips typically 16 weeks, or do you have shorter trips for the students?
We're trying to arrange short-term cycle visits and like summer programs and things like that, but those aren't in the works quite yet. Hopefully I'll know a little bit more about those very soon, but right now they are full semester trips.
And the students coming here would be here for a full semester as well?
Yes, or more.
Or more. So they can actually maybe spend a whole year here with us?
Yes, yes. And we're working on 2+2 programs too, which means they spend 2 years at their home institution and they spend their second 2 years at Rio with us. So very exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah, so many wonderful things happening from your office.
Yes, it's very busy, exciting and busy. I love it. Couldn't ask for a better place to work.
And you would be the person at Rio Grande who would be that safety net for the students.
Yes.
The person who they can come to if they're not sure about where I go to get this question answered, or transportation issues, or whatever
Yes.
the question might be. You're the
Absolutely.
one-stop shop.
I am the one-stop shop for international students, and if I don't have an answer for them immediately, I get them an answer soon. So I refer them to someone or take them to someone else who can help them with whatever they need. So.
And I know Jeannie Gendra works with the Welsh program. So how do you and Jeannie interface with those kinds of programs?
She is the director of the Welsh program, so she deals with the exchange programs and the different cultural aspects of the Welsh. We kind of overlap with the admissions process. I handle all international admissions too, so I talk with the students and the parents before I meet them in person, long before I meet them in person. So when the Welsh students apply, I'm the one that they apply to, and I communicate back and forth with them, and then but she facilitates the exchange.
So it's a partnership in a
Yes.
sense. You each
Absolutely.
have your role, but
Yes.
actually the students have a couple of people they can go to if you would happen
Yes.
to be out.
Mm-hmm.
Jeannie
Absolutely.
would be there.
And any student, if I'm not in, Jeannie is more than happy to work with them, and she loves everybody, not just the Welsh. So
She does, but she has a real love for Wales.
she absolutely
for
does.
those
She has
students.
a lot of family roots, so that's definitely true.
And I guess you can actually see the similarity between Wales and our part of Ohio. People who tell me that there's a lot of similarity between the two.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah. Hopefully one day I'll be able to go to Wales myself and try to find those connections and see if I can bring back anything. But I've heard that as well.
Well, we really appreciate you taking time to share with us about the international program. I've learned a lot.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I have so much now to be able to share with people when they ask.
And thank you for joining us with another Voices of Rio Grande.